Welcome to Springfield Career Insights. Tonight, we enter a topic that shapes futures more than school, more than talent, and sometimes more than opportunity. Relationships, love, and the hidden economics behind them. Many young people fall in love without guidance. They enter relationships without understanding the emotional, financial, and psychological responsibilities that come with them. And too often, a promising future is derailed not by lack of intelligence, but by the wrong relationship at the wrong time. Love can build, love can destroy, money can unite, money can divide. So we ask, how do young people choose relationships that protect their future instead of sabotaging it? And how do love, money, and emotional maturity shape the direction of a young person's life? To help us navigate this deeply personal and socially important conversation, we are joined by His Excellency Dr. Godfrey Gandawa, President of Springfield Research University, Architect of Education 6.0, and a continental voice on human behavior, identity formation, and the economics of relationships. President, welcome.
Thank you, Doctor. At Springfield, we teach that relationships are not just emotional decisions. They are life decisions. The partner you choose can multiply your potential or drain your future. When young people learn to love with wisdom, to choose with clarity, and to build with responsibility, they protect not only their hearts, Doctor, they protect their destiny.
Thank you, Professor. President, many young people underestimate how relationships shape their future. Why is love no longer just an emotional decision, but a life decision?
Thank you, Doctor. So, you see, when we talk to young people about love today, we are not talking about butterflies and poetry alone. We are talking about the architecture of a future. The world has become louder, heavier, and more demanding. And suddenly, the heart is no longer operating in isolation. It is negotiating with reality. Love has shifted, Doctor. It is no longer just a feeling that sweeps you off your feet. It is a decision that determines where you land. Because the truth is this, the person you choose now becomes part of your momentum. They shape your peace, they influence your confidence, they affect the risks you take, the dreams, the chase, the battles you fight. So in a world this complex, your partner can be your anchor, Doctor, or your undoing. And I say this gently. Many young people underestimate how relationships can quietly redirect their destiny. You can have talent, ambition, brilliance, Doctor. But if the person beside you is pulling in the opposite direction, your future becomes a tug of war. Yet when you choose well, when you choose with intention, love becomes a force multiplier. It sharpens you, it steadies you, it gives you room to breathe and room to grow. So, yes, Doctor, love is still emotional, but it is also strategic. It is also generational. It is also deeply practical. Because you are not just choosing someone to hold your hand. You are choosing someone to hold your life with you. And in this space, where we speak about building futures, I want young people to understand this one truth, Doctor. Your heart is precious, but your destiny is even more so. Choose someone who protects both.
Thank you, Professor. Young people often say love is enough. From your perspective, why is this belief dangerous?
Thank you, Doctor. So, the young people say, love is enough. It sounds beautiful. And it sounds noble. But it is one of the most dangerous myths of our time. Because love is a feeling, and feelings move, Doctor. They rise, they fall, they shift with pressure, with stress, with life. And when life becomes heavy, love alone cannot carry the weight. You need character, you need discipline, you need values that hold steady when emotions are tired. Without those, love becomes a spark with no firewood. Bright for a moment, gone in the wind. And here is the truth many discover late, Doctor. Love does not pay rent. Love does not heal trauma. Love does not replace responsibility, honesty, or emotional maturity. If anything, love exposes the gaps. It reveals who you are when excitement fades and real life begins. So, when young people say love is enough, I worry for them. Because they are building a future on sand. They are trusting emotion to do the work of wisdom. And emotion was never designed for that burden, Doctor. Love is beautiful. Very beautiful. But it needs structure. It needs shared vision. It needs two people who can stand when the feeling sits down. That is why the belief is so dangerous. Not because love is weak, but because life is strong. And if you do not build with intention, life will test what love cannot sustain.
Thank you, Professor. You often teach that relationships can either accelerate or destroy destiny. What makes relationships such powerful forces?
Thank you, Doctor. So a relationship is powerful because it reaches the parts of your life nothing else can touch. It gets into your rhythm, it gets into your confidence, it gets into your imagination. And once something enters those spaces, it can build you or break you. When you love someone, you open the gates. You let them into your hopes. You let them into your fears. You let them into the version of yourself you don't show the world. That level of access is sacred, Doctor, and dangerous. If the person you love speaks life into you, you rise without even trying. Your steps become firmer. Your dreams feel possible. Your spirit becomes lighter. Suddenly, you are becoming more than you were yesterday. But if the person you love speaks doubt into you, you shrink without noticing. Your confidence erodes, your ambition slows, your world becomes smaller. and you start negotiating with your own potential. So that is why relationships build or destroy destiny. Not because of dramatic events, but because of slow influence, daily influence, the kind that rewires how you see yourself and what you believe you deserve. So a partner can be the wind behind your purpose or the weight on your wings. And that is why I tell young people, choose someone whose presence strengthens your future, not someone whose presence weakens your spirit.
Thank you, Professor. President, how can a young person identify whether a relationship is building them or draining them?
Yes, so thank you, Doctor. So a young person can feel the difference, not in big moments, but in the quiet ones. A relationship that builds you gives you breath. A relationship that drains you takes it away. When a relationship is building you, you feel yourself expanding. Your mind becomes clearer. Your confidence grows. You start dreaming again. You start believing again. You start recognizing the person you are becoming. And you like that person. But when a relationship is draining you, your world becomes smaller. Your energy drops. Your joy becomes inconsistent. You start doubting yourself in ways you never used to. You start apologizing for things that are not your fault. You start losing pieces of yourself just to keep the peace. You see? The real test is simple, Doctor. Who are you becoming because of this relationship? Are you rising or are you dimming? Are you growing or are you shrinking? Are you more yourself or less yourself? So a healthy relationship strengthens your purpose. A drained one steals your voice. And the body always knows. Your spirit always knows. Long before your mind admits it. So I tell young people, pay attention to your becoming. Your becoming never dies.
Thank you, Professor. Money is one of the biggest sources of conflict in relationships. How can young people build financial honesty and transparency?
Thank you, Doctor. So, money exposes truth. It reveals discipline. It reveals priorities. It reveals character. And that is why it becomes a battlefield when young people avoid honesty. Financial transparency begins with courage. The courage to speak openly about where you are, not where you wish you were. Many relationships collapse because partners are performing stability instead of building it. They hide debts, they hide struggles, they hide habits that will one day explode into conflict. So young people must learn that honesty is not humiliation. You see, it is partnership. It is saying, this is my reality. Can we build from here? When both people bring truth to the table, trust grows. When they bring secrets, suspicion grows. Transparency also requires reading. Not one big conversation, but small, consistent ones. Conversations where you talk about goals, spending patterns, responsibilities, and dreams. You see, conversations where money is not a weapon, but a window into each other's values. And above all, they must separate love from lifestyle. You see, too many young people are dating images. They are dating what? Images, not individuals. You see? They are chasing the illusion of wealthy instead of the discipline that creates it. So, real love does not demand financial perfection, doctor. It demands financial honesty. We don't have. This is what we have. We will build together. When young people approach money with openness, humility, shared vision, conflict loses its power. Because the truth spoken early becomes the foundation that protects the relationship later.
Thank you, Professor. Let's take a break and listen to our gospel song, Traveler of the Hidden Rooms.
Into silence, where the stars were breathing light, where the veil grew thin, and the Spirit stirred the night. You called me by a whisper, only heaven could release, and the ground beneath me opened, like a pathway into peace. I walked through ancient corridors, where time had lost its name, where angels kept the stories of the ones who overcame. Your presence wrapped around me, like a mantle made of flame, and I knew I was becoming who I was before I kanise la kona. I walk in places where your spirit lights my path.
Welcome back. Let's continue our discussion. Some young people stay in toxic relationships because they fear being alone. How can they break this emotional dependency?
Thank you, Doctor. So, emotional dependence is powerful because it disguises itself as love. You see, it convinces a young person that loneliness is a threat and toxicity is a shelter. But breaking it begins with one truth, Doctor. Being alone is not the danger. Losing yourself is. The first shift happens inside. A young person must remember who they were before the relationship. You see, their voice, their dreams, their real. Toxic love blurs those things. Healing begins by reclaiming them. Then comes the courage to sit with silence. Silence is not emptiness, Doctor. It is recovery. It is the space where your spirit resets, where your confidence returns, where your identity breathes again. So many stay because they fear the quiet. Yet the quiet is where strength is rebuilt, Doctor. And finally, they must learn to separate comfort from connection. Toxic relationships often feel familiar, not healthy, Doctor. They feel like home, not because they are good, but because they echo old wounds. Once a young person understands that the spell breaks, they stop confusing pain with loyalty. They stop calling fear love. They stop holding on to someone who is costing them their future. Breaking emotional dependence, Doctor, is not an event. You see, it is a return to self-worth, a return to self-respect, a return to the truth that being alone is not failure. It is preparation for the love that will not destroy them.
Thank you, Professor. Many young people feel pressured to impress partners with money they don't have. How can they escape this trap?
Thank you, Doctor. So, the pressure to impress is one of the most dangerous traps young people fall into. So, it starts softly. A desire to look capable, to look successful, to look worthy. But very quickly it becomes a performance that drains their pocket and their peace, you see. The escape begins with the truth. So a young person must understand that love built on illusion will demand more illusion. If you start by pretending, you will spend the entire relationship maintaining the performance. And performances are exhausting, Doctor. They must also remember that real affection is not impressed by expense. It is impressed by character, by consistency, by honesty. Anyone who needs you to suffer financially to feel loved is not a partner. They are a liability to your future, Doctor. And then comes the courage to set boundaries. To say, this is what I can afford. This is where I am in life. If this is not enough, then I am not your person. That kind of honesty filters out those who were attracted to the lifestyle, not the individual. Young people must free themselves from the fear of looking less. There is nothing dignified about going broke to look impressive. There is nothing romantic about debt disguised as devotion. And there is nothing healthy about love that punishes you for being real. When a young person chooses authenticity over performance, they attract partners who value substance over spectacle. And that is how they escape the trap, by refusing to finance an image doctor at the expense of their future.
Thank you, Professor. President, how can young people balance love with long-term goals like education, career, or business?
Thank you, Doctor. So, balancing love with long-term goals is one of the greatest tests a young person will ever face. Because love pulls at the heart and ambition pulls at the future, you see. If you are not careful, one will silence the other. The key is understanding that love is not meant to compete with your goals. It is meant to cooperate with them. A healthy relationship does not interrupt your education, your career, or your business. It protects them, it respects them, it makes room for them. When a young person is building their life, they must choose a partner who understands the season they are in. Someone who knows that late nights of studying are not rejection. Someone who knows that long hours at work are not neglect. Someone who knows that building a business requires sacrifice, patience, and discipline. Love becomes dangerous when it demands that your future needs. But love becomes powerful when it supports what your future requires. So the balance comes from clarity, doctor. Clarity about your goals, clarity about your boundaries, clarity about the pace you must move at, and clarity with your partner about what this journey will take. When both people honor the mission, love becomes lighter, doctor. It becomes a source of strength, not a source of conflict. It becomes the wind behind your progress, not the weight on your shoulders. So that is how young people balance love and ambition, by choosing a relationship that works with their future, not against it.
Thank you, Professor. President, how can young people protect themselves from partners who use love to control or exploit them?
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. So, control always enters through the door labeled love. That is why young people must be vigilant, not fearful, but aware. Because manipulation does not begin with violence. You see? It begins with charm, with sweetness. So with someone who studies your weaknesses so they can then later weaponize them. Protection starts with boundaries. So a young person must know what is acceptable and what is not. That's long before love arrives. When you have no boundaries, anyone can rewrite your life. But when your boundaries are clear, even the most charming manipulator finds more space to operate. They must also trust their discomfort. Manipulation always creates a subtle tension in the spirit. So you feel smaller, you feel monitored, you feel guilty for things that should never require guilt. So That discomfort is not paranoia, daughter. It is your inner warning system. And then comes what we call independence. That's emotional independence. Financial independence. That's identity independence. So, the more you rely on someone for your sense of worth, the easier it is for them to control you. But when you stand firmly in who you are, no one can use affection to leash you. And finally, young people must remember this, doctor. Love that demands your silence is not love. Love that punishes your growth is not love. Love that isolates you from friends, family, or dreams is not love. That is control wearing perfume. To protect themselves, they must choose partners who honor their voice, not mute it. Partners who celebrate their freedom, not fear it. Partners who love them without needing to own them. Because real love does not cage you, daughter. Real love lets you breathe.
Thank you, Professor. Let's take a break and listen to our gospel song, Breath of Heaven, Fill This Room.
Breath of heaven, fill this room. There's a stillness in the waiting, a holy trembling in the air. Every heart is bowed in longing, every soul is in repair. We have gathered in the silence with a hunger only you can soothe. Let your presence fall upon us. Let your spirit start to move. Breath of heaven, fill this room. Let your glory settle soon. Let your whisper calm the storm. Let your fire make us new. Every heart is reaching out. Every soul is calling you. Breath of heaven, fill this room. We have felt the weight of burdens. We have carried what we fear. But your breath restores the broken, and your nearness draws us near. Let your wind revive the weary. Let your peace replace the gloom. We are open, we are ready. Breath of heaven, fill this room. Breath of heaven, fill this room. Fill this room. Let your glory settle soon. Settle soon. Let your whisper calm the storm. Let your fire make us new. Every heart is reaching out. Every soul is calling you. Breath of heaven, fill this room. Come like rushing wind, come like gentle rain. Come and heal the places we can't even name. Come restore the pieces. Come revive the truth. We are here in surrender. Let your breath renew. Breath of heaven, fill this room. Fill this room. Let your glory settle soon. Settle soon. Let your whisper calm the storm. Let your fire make us new. Every heart is reaching out. Every soul is calling you. Breath of heaven, fill this room. Moya.
Welcome back. Let's continue with our discussion. What is the difference between a supportive partner and a dependent partner?
Thank you, Doctor. So, a supportive partner strengthens your life. A dependent partner consumes it. A supportive partner stands beside you, not on top of you. They bring stability, not strain. They add to your peace, not subtract from it. Their presence gives you room to grow, room to breathe, room to become the person you are working towards. And a dependent partner does the opposite, Doctor. They lean on you so heavily that you start losing balance. They expect you to carry their emotions, their crises, their responsibilities. And slowly, without noticing, you begin shrinking under the weight of someone who should have been walking with you, not hanging on to you. So support, Doctor, feels like partnership. Dependence, Doctor, feels like pressure. Support says, how can we build together? Dependence says, how can you fix me? So a supportive partner celebrates your progress. A dependent partner fears it because your growth threatens the comfort of their reliance. So the difference is simple but profound, Doctor. A supportive partner helps you rise, and a dependent partner needs you to stay small. And once a young person understands that, they stop mistaking emotional burden for emotional bond.
Thank you, Professor. President, how can young people build relationships that strengthen their emotional and financial stability?
Thank you, Doctor. So, young people build strong emotional and financial stability when they choose relationships that add structure, not strain. It is not magic, Doctor. It is alignment. They must begin with shared values. If one believes in discipline and the other believes in impulse, the relationship becomes a tug of war. But when both believe in growth, responsibility, and honesty, stability becomes what natural. They must also choose partners who respect their goals. A supportive partner does not compete with your ambition. They do not distract you from your studies, your career, or your business. They understand that building a future requires focus, and they protect that focus. Financial stability grows through transparency, Doctor. Two people who speak openly about money, habits, and priorities avoid the silent conflicts that destroy trust. They plan together, they save together, they dream together, and they refuse to build a lifestyle that their pockets cannot sustain. Emotional stability comes from safety. A partner who listens, a partner who communicates, a partner who does not weaponize your vulnerabilities. When you feel safe, you grow. When you feel threatened, you shrink. So the formula, doctor, is simple. Choose someone who strengthens your discipline, not your chaos. You choose someone who respects your journey, not your emotions. You choose someone who builds with you, not on top of you. That is how young people create relationships that support both the heart and the future.
Thank you, Professor. Some young people believe suffering is proof of love. How can they unlearn this harmful mindset?
Thank you, Doctor. So, many young people were raised to believe that love must hurt, that pain is proof, that endurance is loyalty, that suffering is the price you pay to keep someone close. But this mindset is not love, doctor. It is conditioning. To unlearn it, they must first separate struggle from sacrifice. Struggle drains you. Sacrifice builds you. Struggle breaks your spirit, but sacrifice strengthens your bond. If the love you're experiencing is destroying you, it is not love, doctor. It is emotional captivity. They must also challenge the stories they grew up with. Some watched parents stay in harmful relationships. Some were taught that living is failure. Some were told that patience means tolerating pain. But healing begins when a young person says, "What I saw is not what I will repeat." Then comes self-worth. When you value yourself, suffering stops looking like romantic, doctor. It stops looking noble. It stops looking like loyalty. You begin to understand that love should not cost you your dignity, your peace, or your future. And finally, they must redefine love. Love is not chaos. Love is not fear. Love is not anxiety disguised as passion. Real love is gentle. Real love is safe. Real love is a place where you grow, not a place where you bleed. Young people unlearn harmful love the moment they realize this truth. Pain is not proof of love. It is proof of danger.
Thank you, Professor. What practical conversations should couples have early to avoid future conflict?
So thank you, doctor. So early conversations are not romantic. They are responsible. They are the difference between a relationship that grows and a relationship that collapses under unspoken expectations. So young people avoid these talks because they fear conflict. Yet silence is what creates conflicts later. There are 5 conversations every couple must have at the beginning, doctor. The first one is the vision conversation. So when I say vision conversation, I'm saying, where are you going in life? Education, career, business, family. If your directions contradict, your relationship will eventually strain. 2 people walking in opposite directions cannot build a shared future. Secondly, the money conversation. Not salaries, habits. How do you spend? How do you save? How do you handle emergencies? Financial behavior is more important than financial status. This conversation prevents silent resentment and hidden expectations. Then third is the boundaries conversation. What is acceptable? What is disrespectful? What are your non-negotiables? So boundaries protect dignity. Without them, love becomes guesswork, and the guesswork becomes conflict. And fourth is the communication conversation. How do you handle disagreement? Do you shut down? Do you explode? Do you avoid? Couples who cannot communicate will eventually communicate through pain. Fifth, which is the last conversation, is the lifestyle and responsibility conversation. Daily life matters. Who handles what? What does support look like? What does rest look like? What does partnership look like in practice, not theory? So these conversations are not tests, doctor. They are foundations. They reveal compatibility, maturity, and readiness. They prevent heartbreak disguised as misunderstanding. When young people talk early, honestly, and consistently, they build relationships that are not just emotional, but sustainable.
Wow, this is amazing. Let's take a commercial break and stay tuned.
At Springfield Research University, we don't teach to pass exams, we encode futures. Grounded in Education 6.0 and powered by STEMMA, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, medicine and automation, we deliver modular, sovereign learning across undergraduate, master's and doctoral programs. Explore our prospectus, where every curriculum is designed to stematize every discipline, dignify local authorship, and credential transformative knowledge. Be stematized, be sovereign. Here, knowledge is authored, not borrowed. Curriculum is credentialed, not copied. Every graduate becomes an architect of transformation. With 2 annual intakes, March and September, the path to innovation is always open. From the logic of automation to the soul of indigenous intelligence, SRU is where tomorrow is designed. Springfield isn't just a university, it's an epicenter of epistemic dignity. Join the movement. Study where learning governs itself. Springfield Research University, the globe is here. Where are you?
Welcome back. Let's continue with our discussion. How can young people avoid repeating the same relationship mistakes?
Thank you, doctor. So young people repeat the same relationship mistakes for one reason. They move on without learning. Healing without reflection becomes recycling. You are recycling pain, the same patterns, the same outcomes, dressed in new faces. Breaking the cycle requires 3 deliberate shifts, doctor. The first one, they must confront their patterns, not their partners. You see, it is easy to blame the other person. It is harder to ask, why do I choose the same type of person? Why do I ignore the same red flags? Why do I stay longer than I should? Why do I confuse intensity with love? You see, patterns repeat until they are studied. Once you name the pattern, you break its power, doctor. Second, they must heal the wound that keeps choosing for them. People do not choose from desire, they choose from wounds. A wound of abandonment chooses clinginess. A wound of insecurity chooses validation. A wound of loneliness chooses anyone. A wound of low self-worth chooses mistreatment. When the wound heals, the pattern changes. When the wound is ignored, the pattern returns. And third, they must raise their standards and enforce them. A standard, doctor, is not a wish. It is a boundary with consequences. Young people often have standards on paper, but not in practice. They say, I want respect, but tolerate disrespect. They say, I want honesty, but accept secrecy. They say, I want stability, but entertain chaos. You do not rise to the level of your hopes. You rise to the level of your boundaries. The transformation, doctor, happens when they choose differently, not just to feel differently. New emotions do not create new outcomes, doctor. New decisions do. New habits do. New self-respect does. So a young person stops repeating mistakes the moment they stop negotiating with the version of themselves that accepted less. That is the beginning of mature love that builds, not wounds.
Thank you, Professor. How can young people choose partners who align with their values, not just their emotions?
Thank you, doctor, for this critical question. So young people stop repeating relationship mistakes the moment they stop rushing past their own history. Every heartbreak leaves clues. Every disappointment leaves a pattern. Every wrong choice leaves a lesson. But lessons only transform you when you pause long enough, doctor, to absorb them. The real shift happens when a young person stops blaming the people who hurt them and starts studying the version of themselves that allowed it. Not with shame, but with clarity. Because clarity is what breaks cycles. They must look at the choice they made when they were lonely. The red flags they excused when they were hopeful. The boundaries they abandoned when they were afraid to lose someone. And the silence they kept when they should have spoken. Growth, doctor, begins when they say, I will not betray myself again. When they stop negotiating with their intuition, when they stop romanticizing chaos, when they stop calling instability passion, when they stop choosing from wounds and start choosing from wisdom. A young person avoids repeating mistakes by becoming the version of themselves who no longer attracts or entertains the pain. Because the healed people, doctor, choose differently. And choosing differently is how the future can be.
Thank you, Professor. Finally, President, what is your message to every young person navigating love, money, and identity in a confusing world?
So thank you, doctor. So I would say to every young person standing at the crossroads of love, money, and identity, hear this with clarity and calm strength. You are growing up in a world that moves too fast, demands too much, and judges too quickly. A world where love is confused with performance, where love is confused with worthy, and where identity is confused with image. But you do not have to be swallowed by that confusion. You can rise above it with intention. So your first responsibility is to yourself, not in a selfish way, in a foundational way. Because the version of you that walks into a relationship, into a career, into a dream, determines everything that follows. When you know who you are, the world becomes less noisy. You stop chasing validation. You stop fearing loneliness. You stop mistaking chaos for passion. You choose from strength, not desperation. And when it comes to money, remember this truth. Money is not love. Money is not identity. Money is not a measure of your humanity. It is a tool, powerful, necessary, but it's still a tool. Use it with discipline, protect it with honesty, build it with patience. Do not let anyone use it to control you, impress you, or define you. As for love, choose slowly. Choose with your eyes open. Choose with your future in mind, not just your feelings in the moment. Love should not derail your life. It should not silence your dreams. It should not shrink your identity. Real love is a place where you grow, not a place where you disappear. And finally, trust your becoming. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are not lost. You are simply unfolding, and unfolding takes time. Do not rush your story because the world is loud. Move with intention, with dignity, with self-respect. If you protect your identity, discipline your money, and choose love that honors your future, you will build a life that is not just successful, but whole. Thank you, Doctor, for having me.
Thank you, President, for reminding us that relationships are not emotional playgrounds. They are life-defining decisions. Your message tonight teaches that love must be wise, disciplined, and aligned with the future we want to build. To our audience, if you're ready to build relationships that honor your destiny, Springfield Research University invites you to join a community where emotional maturity is a part of empowerment. Visit www.springfieldresearchuniversity.net to begin. This brings us to the end of tonight's edition of Springfield Career Insights. May your relationship strengthen your future, not weaken it. I am Clarence, your host. Good night.
Kenjabulo sihlomela impilo leyinhle lena. Hey hey siyakhuphuka tikiti lethu Tanza lungakhiwa. Hey hey siyakhuphuka sonke siyavumelana ngemjululo omuhle sonke similela. Hey hey siyakhuphuka tikiti lethu Tanza lungakhiwa. Hey 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 siyakhuphuka sonke siyavumelana ngemjululo omuhle sonke similela.